Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live show for Lord of Chaos. I forgot for a second then that this is on my channel, so I should probably be the one that introduces it. But we're gathered here. Oh, we've all got different editions. I love it when this happens.
That's really cute.
This one is book 6 in the Wheel of Time series. We are doing the Wheel of Time along, as we all know, which was created by Sandra, who holds us all hostage here. And this will pretty much be spoilers almost from the beginning. So if you haven't read this book or you're not this far into the series, I would recommend that you love us and leave us and come back at a later date. Sandra, do you want to take over?
Yes. Do I start with thoughts? What do I say?
I don't know. What do you say?
I forgot that this book ended like the way it did. We can talk about that like a bit after. But I thought that the next book ended like this did. But either way, I actually one of my favorite endings. This one and I think Towers of Midnight has my favorite endings in the whole series.
Which number is that?
11, I think.
Okay.
It's 11 or 10. It's either of.
Okay.
And I think that this one has a really strong ending, but I feel like we could have cut 500 pages of it because nothing happens. And it's a 1,000-page book. I'm like, why is it so long? It's very long-winded.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we would talk about like the different point of views on what they did because some did nothing. But I still really like it because of the ending. But honestly, like that makes the book, and it's annoying that you have to get through 1,000 pages to get there.
Interesting.
And also, welcome to the slump.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't this where the slump starts? Because I didn't feel it this book.
No, but I feel like after this ending is like where all the characters are now. I thought that this happened much later because it takes such a long time. Like they're all in the same place for like the next 3 books.
Okay.
I feel, yeah.
Okay, Amberly, what are your non-spoilerish thoughts, I guess? I'm going to put everyone's names back on as well because I have it turned off and I always forget. So you talk, I'll do that.
Okay. I enjoyed this one. I mean, objectively, it's a 4-star book, but I only gave it 3 stars because of my major slump that I'm in. This is the only book I've read this month.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I actually enjoyed all of the, I guess you could call them slower happenings. I mean, things were still happening. Like when there was a moment, it was kind of like a wow, that just happened moment. So it didn't really feel like this was the start of the slump. And then the ending was definitely incredibly fast-paced.
Fast-paced, but so fun.
Okay, well. Okay, right. This is wild. I give this one 4 stars. This is my favorite book in the series. I agree that there's like the first 300 pages, nothing happens. Like I didn't start my spoiler vlog until I was like 350 pages in, and then I was getting nervous because I was like, what if I just never start this vlog? I'm so far in. And like there's progression, but like nothing's really happening. 75-page prologue for what? Like, why is that 3 hours and 20 minutes long? But then you have so many like oh shit moments back to back throughout the middle. And then it like does slow down a little bit again. And we have like, I will say there was like at least 3 pages of Perrin being chased by Berlin. I did not
Oh my god, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, because it was Rand's perspective, and Perrin was like, "Oh, I don't know what Rand's doing, but like I've had a terrible 3 days, man. Let me tell you about it."
I know.
So there was a lot of that kind of stuff, like the whole like I know that people say that Robert Jordan's treatment of women in the Wheel of Time isn't great, but I feel like it's got to this point where I'm finally like, no, it's not great. Like, not a fan. But then the ending was also really good.
Yes.
So I think you could have taken like a solid 400 pages out of this book, but all of the things that happened, I was like shook by. So yeah, it's my favorite one so far.
Yeah, I'm definitely shook by a lot of the events that happened in this book. I was screaming a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of important things happen in the book, but literally we could have taken away still so much off.
I feel like it could have got started a little bit quicker, because that whole like beginning portion of just everyone hanging around and not a lot going on was a bit tedious.
The reason why the next few books are called the slump, I feel like, is because every book starts out with like, we're gonna check in where all the characters are, and they're in the same place as in the last book. So it's like you just get a repeat every book, and you're like, I know we are in this city, like we've been here for 4 books, you know? Like, so that's why it feels so frustrating for me.
I think one of the really frustrating things about this one is that I've spoken about how Robert Jordan kind of, I feel like the flow of the books isn't there. Like they could be like woven together, like everything could be a little bit more seamless. Like having File's perspective in the prologue and then you don't see Perrin until page 800, like what was the point in that?
I know!
Like just include her perspective later on, like if they're not coming in until 800 pages in the book, like just don't. I mean, literally it was after page 800.
I'd rather we never see her, but
oh my, yeah, okay. I feel like I'm just leading this conversation. I'm sorry, but I feel like we could talk about like all the main characters and what they were doing. And I want to start with Lan. He was very prominent in this book. I think he had about 1.5 pages or something, 2 pages, and he was bruised up, and then he was with Morella, whatever her name is, and then
I'm so shocked though, because I was sure, we were all sure that Moraine had tied him to Nynaeve.
I thought so bad, and I was like 75% through the book, and my note is really where TF is Lan.
Because he wasn't in the last. Was he in the last book? Yeah. Was it the last book that Moraine died?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so he just didn't appear for this book. Okay, it's Perrin that's been missing for 2 books, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he came back this one in the end.
I know, but it was after page 800, so there's pretty much an entire book there that he's not in.
So that was really important to mention Lan, because I was missing my boy. I guess we could talk about Salidar. So I was thinking about Elaine, and I was like, did she do anything in this book? No. Like she
no,
didn't
I was. Oh wait, no, didn't she invent more things, or was that just Nynaeve?
Yeah, but she didn't invent them. She just made Mogadine tell her.
Well, yeah, no, that's true.
The thing she was gonna do. So like, yeah. So
I did have a moment in the book where I was like, oh my god, how are they learning all of these things so quickly? And I was like, they're being told them. I just realized I was like, it's Mogideon, and is it Asmodean that's telling them how to do things? Yeah, so that would be how.
But Nynaeve, she healed still people. She healed Logain and Swan and Lyanna. What do you guys think?
I feel like Elaine did do something in this book. She very kindly accepted sharing Rand with both men.
I don't want to.
That's true. And then didn't she asked Egwene to pass a message to
Min to let her know that Avienda is the 3rd person that they're going to be sharing him with.
It's like, oh, she's like us, if you know what I mean. And I'm like,
just imagine. I'm sorry. Just imagine you like meeting another woman, and they are like, "Yeah, we're gonna share this dude." Like, and you're just like, "Sure." Like, just it's just. I'm not saying anything wrong with sharing, by the way, if they all consent, but just the way it is set up, like they don't even have a choice.
I think that Rand is way too much of a vanilla man for 3 women to be falling at his feet and making like big life changes just to be with him.
And big personality changes.
Yeah.
Min was an entirely different person in this book, and that I really didn't like that.
Oh no.
But Salidar, lots happened. I don't know how I feel about Egwene as Amyrlin. I'm not really on board with that yet.
I love it.
I feel like a lot happened in this book in terms of things like politics and social structure on a pace that seems very accelerated considering the pace of the rest of the series. Like, Rand is talking about schools, like, I'm creating these schools so that, like, the knowledge doesn't get lost, so, like, people can learn about what happened and what's going to happen, and if the world breaks, like, the knowledge isn't lost. And I'm like, dude, don't you have other things to think about? Like, how are you popping up schools left, right, and center, but you can't seem to do anything else? Like, it takes you 3 books to do anything else. You can build like 9 schools. Like, what is happening? And it was the same with kind of like, I feel the like Egwene being made Amelin. Like, I definitely had that as her end goal, because she, out of the 3 Elaine was never really a contender, so out of her and Nynaeve, Egwene has been very slowly becoming more like cold and standoffish, and very much like an Aes Sedai, like very like aloof almost. So she was very much settling into a role of Aes Sedai, much more than Nynaeve was, who was has always been very emotional, which isn't like an Aes Sedai trait. So I did feel like it was going to be Egwene, but like now, right now, and then she starts it and she's like, all of my friends will be Aes Sedai, and I'm like, wow, can we spell nepotism? Like, is this allowed? So yeah, I do think it's an odd choice.
I just really love her character development and how like she was with IE, like how she like admitted her lying and taking the punishment, the toll as it is called, and then and then they all think that they can manipulate her, but she's not gonna let that happen.
Yeah, I love the rest of her storyline. It just seemed like a very sudden and abrupt shift out of nowhere, that all of these Aes Sedai who are fighting for this and think they're better than everyone just handed it to this young girl
who isn't even an Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
And she hasn't even grown into her power, never mind mastered like the mental fortitude that is required to become an Aes Sedai. And she's like 20.
No, I think they said she was 18.
18, damn.
I think they said it in the book, but she might be 19, 20.
I think somebody complained about Nynaeve being really young, and she was mad about it because she's 25, and I think that's the only specific reference to age.
They said that Nynaeve was 26, and I was like...
it was that
18 in Salidar.
Yeah, because I think it was that queen they were visiting in Abu Dar. She was guessing at their ages, and I think... I don't think...
liked her. She was cool.
Yeah, I don't think they confirmed her guess about Elaine, because I think Elaine and Egwene are around the same age, but Nynaeve did get mad and correct her, so we do know her age for sure.
Yeah, Nynaeve said 26, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's old as me.
She's quite a bit older than the rest of them then. Well, I think like Rand and Mat are like 20, and then Egwene is 18, but she's like quite a bit older than Egwene is.
But I feel like Egwene has shown like a lot of, I was going to say like naivety, so it feels like she's a bit younger than I am, so I feel like it fits. But yeah, it is quite shocking. I thought also that was just something that bothered me, but you know,
I'm
in this
sorry,
term,
but can we call her Eggy from now on?
Why Eggy?
Egwene, Eggy.
Oh, jeez.
God, Sandra.
I don't understand anything.
I feel like you're about to have an existential crisis about that now.
Yeah, but in the ceremony when she was going to become Aes Sedai, they all like took off the clothes and they were like showing themselves as women, and I was just like, this is so weird because
there is a lot of nakedness in this book.
Yeah, but
Egwene that gets naked and then gets whipped.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then they were like all sweat bathing together. Naked, and then Nan came in and were naked, and she was like, "Oh," but yeah. But yeah, it was an interesting ceremony because I feel like we finally get like a glimpse into the tower, because we haven't like seen how they actually are structured from the inside as Aes Sedai, because we haven't been inside. But now we're finally getting like why they don't feel like what's it called, heat and stuff. I thought it was interesting, and how like in a room, if there's someone who's the most powerful, they always like have to listen to that person, even though the others might be like leaders of other things.
I did kind of notice with this book that there are a lot of characters at this point, because I was, especially with having the 2 different Aes Sedai groups, I was struggling because I listened to the audiobook, which makes it just like so much more enjoyable in general, but like struggling to remember like which Aes Sedai are with which group of Aes Sedai. I was really struggling with that because of just how many characters there are at this point. And then there's like the people from Andor, and then there's people from other places, and all of these places that they've gone to, they've collected characters, and then there's all of the Aes Sedai, but then there's the bad, not the Aes Sedai, the Aiel, and there's the good Aiel and the bad Aiel. It's just so much.
Yeah, and then Matt has his like Red Hand group, and then Perrin has his own like little armies. So they have like both their own little armies.
And Matt's got his own as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to pull my book out at one point because I was listening to the audio by itself and not reading along all of the time so I could get through it quicker. And we went from a scene with Alana and Rand to a scene in Salidar with Nynaeve being sent to an Aes Sedai named Dolana. And I was really confused about how Alana was in two places at once until I pulled my book out to look at the names.
There's also Eleda, and there is another Aes Sedai that has a similar name.
Liana?
Yeah. I get Eleda and Liana confused all of the time. And then because I'm only listening to the audiobooks, obviously like the pace doesn't stop because I need to think. Egwene and Elaine are really tripping me up. Like if I just hear it very quickly, I'm like, wait, which one is it? And I have to like think which one it is to be able to like place them. Full cast audio would be crazy, but I feel like I would appreciate a bit more differentiation with the narration, because at this point, if I hear a male narrator, I just assume it's Rand. And then it'll go on for like a paragraph and I'll be like, wait, this isn't Rand. And I'm like, who is it though? I have no idea. Especially when it's like a random Forsaken. I'm like, I have no idea who this is. Like, where are we? Where are we right now?
I think I get more used to that because I've been listening to the Kramer Reading audiobook since book 1. And it doesn't really trip me up at this point.
Yeah.
The first time I hear a name, I just go, okay.
This was pretty much my problem. I was listening over such a long time, I was forgetting who was who and where.
What do you guys think about them rediscovering traveling? Because now we won't have as long as like going on the road for like 400 years anymore. We would just poop.
I miss the traveling scenes.
I really liked it because now we can move faster. But you know when Rand was going from city to city, Carrie and I don't remember the other name. Camelin. I never understood where was what. I knew some people were there, some people were in other place, but I was confused.
In terms of the audio as well, and also it being two places like Camelin and Carian that like have the similar sounding names, it once again makes it hard to differentiate when there's no traveling.
Yeah,
well, yeah, that was it. That's
like,
why
in between locations, like I don't know where you are.
I miss the traveling scenes because in such a big world where they're going to so many places, it gave you time to like bridge from this city to this city. But when they're just moving back and forth with like a snap of the finger, it's a little harder to keep up on where they're at.
I do think as well that at this point in the story, like, because we were saying how in the first 3 books, like, he introduces a location and a culture and then you don't see them again. Like, and then he'll go in the next book, we go somewhere else and we meet people and rulers and then you never see them again. At this point, you kind of get why he did that. I still think that it could have been a lot more seamless because I don't think, you know, when people say like, oh, you have to read 6 books in this series for it to get good, and it's like, why would I do that though? Like, why would I actually do that? I feel like the same is applicable here. Like, you can't just trust that people are going to read like 4 or 5 books to be able to get into something. So I do feel like all of that stuff could have been done better. But like, obviously, it's easier to read book 6 having the background knowledge of having been to all of these places.
Yeah. Because like if we didn't go to the Aiel ways, we wouldn't care about all this Aiel, right? We wouldn't care about the split in the Aiel. If we didn't go to Tyr, we wouldn't care about what's happening there, etc., etc. So like, it makes sense, but also it took a long time.
I actually don't care about Tyr.
No, I don't either. That's just where the sword is. That
the time that we spent in Tyr is probably what I remember the least about the books that I've read. So like he mentions Tyr and I'm like, I don't have a clue.
I remember the Stone of Tyr really well, but
yes,
and the lady that I guess Tyr's version of a wisdom that was hosting Nynaeve, Elaine, and Egwene, but that's all I got.
I think, because I know Aldan said, like, I think that's part of why rereading is so good, you know, the voice is better. I think that this is definitely a series. It's like I always say the Stormlight Archive is a series that is, I haven't reread it yet, but I feel like it would be better on reread. And I feel like this is the same. I don't think I ever will reread this series just because of, well, there we go.
You know, I thought when I finished the series that I would never reread, right? And here I am.
I just think that there's only so many books that I can reread because I still have to read new books. And I think of all of the epic fantasies that I've reread, I would 100. If I had to choose one, because a lot of people just keep reading Wheel of Time, mine would be Realm of the Eldlings.
Oh yeah.
Or Stormlight.
But I would just do them all.
I would wait because obviously it's still being published, but I could do Realm of the Eldlings over and over again.
But I feel like I thought that I would never reread, and here I am forcing people to read with me. But I already feel now, I'm like, I kind of want to reread. So I feel like in a few years again, I would want to reread it again. I already feel it now. So, yeah.
You've only got one hostage here.
Is that me?
Yeah.
Look, I enjoyed this book. I've been held hostage for so long, I have Stockholm Syndrome now. I was like, because genuinely I was reading this book and I was like, do I like this series now? Or have I just been here so long? Like, am I just, especially with the length of this audiobook, and I've been doing jigsaws I finished this ahead of schedule, guys. Because I was reading more than I had to. Because I was listening to my audiobook and I was doing jigsaws and I was like, I'm having the time of my life. So I don't know whether I'm enjoying this series or whether I just really like doing jigsaw puzzles and it made me happy. And now I think I like it because I had silly little serotonin in my brain while I was listening.
Sandra floating more hostage taking makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I kind of am like, I don't think I'm going to reread it. Like, I'll read along, but I don't know. You should see. What did you guys think about the stilling healing? You never said.
Oh, I'm confused as to why it works better on men than women, but I always knew, because my first introduction into Wheel of Time was the show. I watched season 1 of the show, and then we started reading. Still haven't watched season 2. I knew from the first moment I saw Logain in the show that he was going to be important, and that just reinforces it even more. Like, my one thing about this series is, like, Logain is important, and you know what? He's one of those characters that, like, he may not be all that important, but I'm rooting for him. I like Logain, and I'm really excited to see what happens with him now.
Especially with Min's viewing of him that we got in the last book when they first ran into him. I'm really invested in Logain as a character, and I love that they let him go because I want to see what he's about to do.
But I feel bad for him. He was literally scammed by the Aes Sedai. Like, they forced him to announce himself as a false dragon, like, so they could take him down. So
do we still know if they actually go mad, or whether we just think that, because we see another side to the Aes Sedai in this book. We've been seeing it gradually, and that reminded me a lot actually of how my nail tech said this to me about Game of Thrones, and it's always stuck with me. I won't spoil it, but she says that Daenerys' character arc is no different from how her character always was. It's just the perspective that you're viewing it from, and I feel like the Aes Sedai are very much like that. Like, nothing that they've done is out of character in this book. It's just they were doing things that we wanted them to do earlier on, and now they're doing things that is exactly the same things they've always been doing, but now we don't want them to do it, and it makes them seem a lot more sinister.
I hate them more with every book that we read.
Yeah, but I don't think, like, they're not bad is the thing. They're just, like, they're very much in the gray area of, like, they're in it for themselves, which is very, very interesting. But does that mean that, I don't know if the men do go mad, because Rand isn't going mad. Rand has Lews Therin in his head.
For real. Yeah, like, we figured out that it's not just like, at least I think that it's not just like some random voice. It's like he actually has Lews Therin in his head.
Yeah, and like, but it happens to Matt as well. Because Matt,
but that was because he went through the thing.
But it's the same kind of thing. Like, Matt has like all of these memories and stuff of a different person. Rand literally has Lews Therin talking in his head, and we know that he is the Dragon Reborn. We know he is Lews Therin. So we have like a 95% sure that he literally does have Lews Therin in his head because they are the same person, whereas he thinks he's going mad. And we, as far as I remember, have never had any evidence that the male what are they called? Channelers are going mad. It's just that the Aes Sedai are telling us that they are, and they're still in them. So before we ever see them properly go mad, they're stilled.
I'm not.
But they're also spurred into action. They're manipulated by the Aes Sedai as well into doing all of these things, and then they're stilled.
Yeah.
And nobody believes them because everybody knows that the men go mad. So if they're saying, like, I didn't go mad, like, I'm supposed to be doing this, then, like, well, nobody's going to believe them because everyone knows that they're mad. But are they?
Who knows? Who knows? I'm not going to say anything.
That's interesting. I want to finish the series so bad. Like, I just want to read it, but I know I have to pace myself.
Okay. Let's talk about Matt. What did he do in this book? Did he do anything?
I mean, he led his army from place to place, and he got beat up and in lots of arguments with Elaine and
You know what? This book made me ship Matt and Elaine. They have more chemistry than Elaine and Rand.
I don't know. I was looking through the prologue because I couldn't remember. Did we find out that the daughter of the 9 moons that Matt supposedly marries was Sean Shan last book or this book?
I forgot, so I would say this book.
I forgot as well.
Because it came up a couple times this book, but I couldn't remember if we had the Sean Shan point of view for a little bit last book or this book. But I'm really excited. Like, I want to get to that. Like, I need stuff to start happening there.
I think I would argue that Matt did do something in this book, and it was make lots of pretty disgusting comments about women.
Yeah.
So there was him doing that. There was Perrin and Fael just being disgusting. There was everybody draping themselves all over Rand. And then there was every single time Berlin came into the scene, it was like, oh, there's Berlin. She got her tits out.
Please tell me, can someone explain? Because I don't understand. Why was Fael mad at Perrin when he rejected Berlin? I didn't understand it. And I
don't know if it was because... My interpretation of that scene, I don't know, because Fael can be quite unreasonable, and she's actually quite... I like her, but not with anything to do with Perrin. If she was on her own on the other side of the world, I would like her. But because she's with Perrin all the time, she irritates the fuck out of me. So my interpretation of that scene was that he was way too harsh with her.
When Berlin or Fael?
Yeah, when he rejected her, because he snapped and he just went off. And I was like, well, that's rude. But that wasn't potentially me, because that doesn't make sense for Fael to do that. But I thought that
she smelled jealous every time he rejected Berlin.
I had a thought, because we had that scene with Fael's parents.
Yeah.
And how her mom was such a strong woman, but she cowed to her dad's orders. And I noticed that Rand was not ordering Fael, but he was ordering Berlin the way that her dad would order.
Oh, you're so smart. That makes total sense. He was ordering Fael. No, not Fael. I'm switching all the names. He was ordering Berlin around, and then Fael wanted to be ordered around, but he didn't. It was
he
nice
just
for her.
Her. He was just
and of course, like, women are so unreasonable, so like she would do something like that. My thing that really irritated me in this book is something I noticed, that every time like a man or a woman wants to talk to the opposite gender in this book, they are trying to manipulate them. So they don't just go, like, Egwene doesn't walk up to Rand and say like, oh, like, I think you need to just like sit back and just like chill for a minute. She's like, she sits there and she's like, how can I phrase this so that Rand is going to do what I want him to do? And then the men do the same. They're like, how can I talk to Nynaeve without her being stubborn and doing what I want her to do? But if Rand talks to Matt, you don't have that. He just talks to Matt. He's just go talk to Matt. And like with the thing he wants Perrin to go to, is it Tia that he wanted Perrin to go to? So he kept being like, oh, like, I hope Perrin reconsiders on Tia. Like, oh, I'm going to speak to Perrin. I need to remember to ask him about Tia. He doesn't sit there and think, how can I manipulate Perrin into going to Tia like I want him to?
Yeah, it was the same.
The woman he would.
He has in the past, though, done that. Because I think it was in the last book when they were leading up to that big battle with the Shido. He sent Lan in to talk to Matt about how Matt would recommend going about this battle based on the thoughts in his head.
That was like pride thing though, that wasn't it? Because he didn't want to ask Matt for advice.
No, I think it was because I remember it being that he didn't think that Matt would talk to him, but if Lan went in, he would talk to Lan and then they could follow it. So I think it's just kind of hit and miss where Rand manipulates everyone, but all of the other characters, they do seem to have a definite gender split in how they deal with everyone else.
I know Rand has this big thing about how he's using people and how he's like, oh, this is another person sacrificed to the cause of the Dragon Reborn because like of how important he is. But yeah, and then he justifies it as well by being like, well, I have to manipulate people. And I feel like a lot of their relationships have been lost.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really interested, actually, because of the end of this book with the Aes Sedai. And the thing where Luz Theron is like, we don't trust Aes Sedai, we don't trust Aes Sedai. I'm really interested to see how this is going to affect Rand and Egwene.
Yep.
Yeah. She's literally the Armil and Seat now. But I also was really annoyed at Ram, and he was like, every time a maiden wanted to like died for him, he was like, oh no, another woman. But if it was man, he's like, oh, whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's so annoying. It's so man.
And not just him and Egwene, but him and Elaine, because she's gonna be an Aes Sedai too.
Oh yeah.
What do you guys think about, like, you know how Rand doesn't think that Min actually likes him? He thinks that she's just playing with him, right? But like, if he thinks he's just playing with him, then why is he just letting her? Like, why is he just like, oh, I'm like, what is this? Yeah, but like, he doesn't like Elaine. He was with Avienda, and I was just like, oh well, Min is in my lap. Ooh, I guess I gotta just. Like,
it's definitely, it's not just a product of the time that it was written. You can tell that Robert Jordan is old. Like, he's writing it when he's older. So it's a product of the time when Robert Jordan was young and like when he was learning like about men and women and this kind of thing, because it is so outdated. And I think because like I read books from the 90s, I've read books from the 90s that don't have quite so much like sexism in them. And like I understand as well, like I perfectly understand that the reason why it's such an issue for me is because it's 2023 and I'm reading it. But it still really irritates me.
It is annoying. And like Nynaeve like dragging her braid, and then it's like that is like the height of feminism in this book. Her dragging her braid, like literally, that is feminism, guys.
I'm wondering if Robert Jordan's acknowledgement of Nynaeve tugging her braid is a genuine acknowledgement of him being too repetitive, or whether it's a response to reader critique. Like, you know, whether he's like read a review of his book of like Nynaeve tugging a braid, so he's like making her stop tugging her braid because everyone knows that she does it, but then tugging it anyway because she can't help it. I think her being aware of tugging her braid is more annoying than her just like constantly tugging it.
She did think about doing it on purpose, because there was one line that I heard and I was just like, oh Lord, and she was just like, she gave it an extra tug for good measure on purpose. That they knew.
I'm sorry, it's hilarious at this point, but yeah.
So Bear Lane, before we move on, did anyone else pick up on like how it seemed like she was going to become another one of Ruark's wives?
No, but then she wants Perrin. I don't understand.
I thought she was his daughter.
No, she's not Aiel.
Oh, and then I remembered actually that Perrin said something about whoever's daughter she is, he should beat her more often. And I was like, why?
Yeah, because she was how the wise ones that Ruark was already married to were like treating her so well. Egwene kept noting it and how they were talking to her like as an equal and kissing her on cheeks, which is things that you only do with like your whatever sisters or whatever, and she would blush and do whatever Ruark said. But then there was the Min's viewing about how she was her heart was going to be stolen by a man all in white or something, and my thought went to Galad.
But isn't Galad? Wait, who's with Egwene now? Is that going?
Yes.
Right. I still keep confusing those two. Right, that makes
Why
sense.
are the names basically the same? Like, couldn't they be named with different letters? If they had different letters in the name, I would know. But it's Grain and Galad, no.
And Gawain is now Rand's brother. Is
he
that the
Rand's
right
brother?
one? Is it Gawain that's Rand's brother?
No, Galad. Galad is supposed to be Rand's brother, and that was one of my big revelations. Was I didn't realize this entire time that he wasn't actually Elaine and Gawain's half brother. Like they're step siblings. Like
That's why she hates him, right?
yeah, the queen
Wait.
wasn't his mom.
Yeah, but wait. This is where I got really confused because I was like, how can they be half siblings and Rand not be related to Elaine?
Because they're not related at all. It's Elaine and Gawain's dad already had Galad when he married their mom.
Okay, so they are step siblings because I always thought that they were half.
I did too.
I did too.
So because he's also related to Moiraine, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Because isn't he's Moraine's nephew, but Rand isn't because they've got different fathers and it's Galad's father that is Moraine's brother. I think.
I'm leaving this room because I don't understand anything.
So Moiraine said in like book 2 or something that she's like a princess of somewhere or like a lady of somewhere, and her brother is Galad's father that Rand's mother left.
Ugh. Okay,
so
fine.
Rand's mother is the same mother as Galad's mother, but she isn't related to Moiraine. So Rand isn't related to Moiraine. But Galad is. And then I was really concerned that Rand and Elaine were related because obviously we've got
he was too.
We're going to go like the 3 wives route. So I was like, shit. I thought, but knowing how Robert Jordan has been treating all of these plot twists, I thought he was just going to roll with it. Like, I thought he was just going to, they're related and then just continue along the track. So I was really, but when Rand was like, so if they were farmers, would they be related? And she was like, oh, no, I don't trust her. Because, like, what does that mean? Does that mean they're second cousins?
Well, I think it's because in royalty, even like the slightest amount of blood puts you somewhere in the line of succession. So they're all like family more than like you would consider like your 6th cousin 3 times removed if you were a commoner.
But her response wasn't concrete enough for me. I wanted to be like, no, is she called Tigraine? I wanted to be like, Tigraine is like Elaine's 3rd cousin twice removed on her dad's side, and then they've got like 7 siblings in between them. But she was just like, nah, if they were farmers, then I wouldn't consider them related. And I'm like, but does that mean they're actually related though? Like, I need to know how closely they're related to know if I have the egg. And Randall was just like, oh yeah, that's fine. But we all know what these farm villages are like. Like, I don't know how closely related they consider not related.
I think I don't want to think about it this hard.
Just forget it. Well, just forget that part.
I think somebody said to Rand, how did he find out? Oh, they said that he looks like a queen. It was like, you look a bit like this queen, and she ran away, and then he realized that he is the queen's, or the old queen's. But I just don't understand. If Rand and Elaine aren't related, how did the crown pass from Tigraine to Morghese?
I think you get that whole part when like Elaine comes, like she talks about how her mother got her throne a lot.
Okay, cool.
Later.
Because that was the confusing thing for me, because I was like, if Tigraine was the queen before Morghese, then surely they have to be like sisters.
No, I think it's because her husband was the king, but Tigraine's husband was the king, but he's not allowed to rule. A woman has to rule.
Andor.
Oh, so she married him. So then, no, I'm just confused again.
Oh, he married Morghese.
So, and then Morghese became queen because he was the king.
Yes.
then who is Elaine's father?
Him. No.
He is. But that makes Galad and Elaine half siblings.
Oh. I'm confused.
Right?
But it's
I need a family tree along with the glossary that we have going on here, especially now that we have more people in this family than we expected.
I don't want to think about his family tree.
okay, so yes, so Elaine and Rand share a sibling in common. That it is a little too closely related for my tastes.
Let's see. I'm gonna Google.
If it was,
family
I
tree.
feel like if Rand and Galad are brothers, and then Galad, see, that's the thing. Rand and Galad are brothers, and Galad and Elaine are siblings. If it was a KU romance, I'd let it slide. I feel so. In the case of not being a hypocrite, I feel like I accept that.
Sorry, I'm looking at the family tree. But where is Rand?
It's a very good question.
Where is Rand? I can't find him. Here's
I know
Wade.
that Deb said Google does find some very complicated looking Rand family trees. Poor guy.
I can't find him. Where is he? He's missing.
Which, of course, makes Lord Luke his uncle, which I thought that Lord Luke was his brother, but then a mouth breather in my comments told me that I was wrong anyway, so I knew that Luke was his uncle, but I didn't know why.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah, that part made sense. I did catch on to that.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, like, I'm interested into seeing how and when he comes back into the books after what he was doing.
Yes, because he should have been there if we were going back to that, but especially because he's mentioned in this book and we went back to that part of the world.
Wait, what? I am so confused. Sorry. Wait, what? Wait, what?
Even Aldan seems confused now, which means that it's a lost cause.
Wait, so we had of the Iron Janduin of the Iron meets Teardad, and then Tigraine, they had Ran. Tigraine had Galad, but with another
yeah.
dude. But why does it say, sorry, that it's because they're together. They're not siblings, sorry.
Do you think he said that Rand and Elaine were siblings?
No, someone else. It was kind of a
Okay,
spoiler
cool.
for who Rand
Yeah.
together. I was like, they are not really. I lost it. Sorry.
So, right, back to what we
Yeah.
were saying. Egwene is with Galad, right?
Yeah,
And Gawain's with
he's
the
with
White.
Gawain.
No, she's
Wait.
with the other one.
Elaine is with Gawain.
Gawain.
Galad is with the White Cloaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'm ready for this big sibling war now.
I feel
And
like
it
it's
says
Isn't
Elaine and Gawain, they are siblings.
Gawain is with the Tower Aes Sedai, right? Which is going to cause problems because he's also with Egwene, who's the ambulance seat of the non-tower.
Yeah.
And then you have Galad, who's with the White Cloaks, who's trying to kill all of the Aes Sedai. And then you've got Rand, who's also trying to kill all of the Aes Sedai. But the White Cloaks would also kill Rand. This is getting messy, guys. I'm here for it.
It says, I love this, the last line where it said,
The first 9 Aes Sedai kneel to the dragon or something like that.
Yeah, and then it was like, I can't even find it. The fucking prologue is too long. Sorry.
So he was kidnapped
was-
by the Tower Aes Sedai, right?
Yes,
Yes.
the ones that works for Alida, who we don't like because she
And
was...
then the last ones that turned up that knelt to him were the non-Tower Aes Sedai, right?
Yes.
And Verin is with the non-Tower ones, even though they forced him
No,
to
but-
be the order.
The tower ones were already kneeling. Then he made the non-tower
new
ones kneel
one.
with them.
Right.
So
okay.
they all are kneeling now.
And then
which
you've got Verin. Oh no, they're with the Tower, aren't they? At the
No,
minute?
Baron and
No.
Alana are with the ones from Sally
I
Dar.
must feel.
But
Yeah.
they didn't know that the Tower had fallen.
No,
they were
because-
taking them to the Tower to start off.
Yeah, but because they were coming from Emond's Field. So they
And
haven't
then-
been with anyone.
So then, did they side with the Salidar ones when they found out?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and then they forced Rand to bond as a warder. Was that Alana?
It was. I still can't decide whether I think Alana or Varen is Black Aja, but I'm convinced that one of them is.
No, there was one bit, it was like maybe the last perspective that they had where I thought that they were Black Aja, and obviously because I'm listening to the audio, I thought it was a Black Aja perspective, so I wound it back and it was them two, and I hope it's not Varen, because I liked Varen like when we first met her.
I've been suspecting that she might be Black Aja for books, and I really want to know if I'm right, but
Why?
I'm gonna
I
swear.
get like a
Varen-
motherly vibe from her. I like her.
I get that vibe from her though. Like, especially when she was giving Egwene the Terangrial to go into Teleron Riyadh, or the Sa'angrial, whichever one it is.
The ring.
Yes, the ring. And she's like, oh, there's no notes about these. And then she's in her study looking at all of these person's notes about all of these dream ones that she had used before that she said didn't exist. And I'm like, so whose side are you really on?
Huh.
Is Alana the Aes Sedai that lived in the hut with her?
Yes. The one that was in... No.
Because there was two of... It was very gay the way that it was described, but I know that Robert Jordan didn't mean for it to be gay, but it's like two women went off to live in a hut in the woods together and do research, and I'm like, they're definitely gay.
People are saying it is gay, that's why, like, Swan.
I'm picking up something that different to what he's putting down, but like still very, very gay. But if those two have been together in the woods for however long it was, then it would make sense that potentially they were both Black Aja, if one of them was.
Yeah, I don't remember if they were together. I was remembering that they were together when they arrived in Emmons Fields. But I don't remember if Alana was the one that went back to the tower with Varen and
Marin?
Yes. Oh man, she's been dead for a book. I already forgot her name.
No, I keep struggling because I keep wanting to say Morghese. And then I say Maurice, and that's nobody.
I know Morghese, and I was like, no, that's not her.
Why are these names so similar?
She brought those people from the hut back to the tower.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember if Alana was originally with them or if Varen and Alana got sent out together after that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I only remember Varen. I don't remember who was with her.
I only remember Reverend showing up, like, when they were out traveling and Moraine was doing all her shit, and she was like, I'm gonna come too, and then Moraine was like, shit. Yeah. But yeah, Rand was put in a box, and then he made Aes Sedai kneel, and he also made a Black Tower and his Usherman, and he made them, like, wear, like, the pins that were, like, kind of, like, accepted all that shit. And yeah, and he gave
surprising part of the ending was when Mazrim Time actually showed up with all those people, because I really I was wondering if he was just going to turn on Rand and just take like this army of male channelers that he had made him and go do his own thing.
Mm-hmm. I completely forgot about that as well, because that was a big part of the end of the last book, was that he was going to start training the men, and then I completely forgot. It was very season 7 of Buffy.
I haven't watched Buffy, so I don't know.
Anybody's seen like the whole plot line in season 7 of Buffy is like what Rand is given right now.
Yes.
I don't like Rand, and I don't like what he's doing, and I don't know if that's because I am a woman in 2023 or whether I'm not supposed to like him. Am I supposed to be questioning? Because like the whole like dominate the world thing he's doing and controlling everyone, don't love it, but I don't know whether that's his aim, is to like control the world because he's the king of kings.
I feel like he's moving region by region and trying to bring about peace and then hand over the rule. And he's just trying to find people he can trust to put like onto the throne so he can move on to the next thing. But I at least don't hate him as much as I hated him at the beginning of the series. I'll say that much.
That's fair. I do feel like, though, as we have just compared it to Buffy, he does remind me of Buffy because he has the whole self-sacrificing attitude where he's like, I'm the only one who can do this, so I have to sacrifice everything for you guys, and you don't appreciate me, and you can't help me, and your opinions aren't valid. And that is why Buffy is my least favorite character in Buffy. So I also don't really love that he's doing that. Although I do appreciate that his character has grown from him being annoying and whiny about it to kind of accepting it. But it's a begrudging acceptance.
Yeah.
Like, I want him to, like, want it, you know. He's not empowering to read from his perspective.
So when you said that this is like your favorite so far, why do you think this is your favorite so far?
Because we had so many like plot twists come in back to back throughout the middle, and I feel like it's getting to a point where like all of the tediousness in books 1 to 3 especially, but I didn't love 4, which I know a lot of people quite like 4. I liked 5 a little bit more, because it had like the first oh shit moment in this entire series for me was in book 5 when they were like, Mogase is dead, and I was like, excuse me, like what? And then she wasn't, but
yeah,
I was shocked. So I feel like we're having a lot more of those moments, and I feel like we're starting to, like, it's actually starting to pay off a little bit, because like book 1 is just them walking a lot and Rand complaining, and then they like speed off to the Blight, kill some Trollocs and a tree, and then like, oh, something that I also really liked about this one is that the end battle felt quite short, because like I don't like the action scenes, so I feel like it was quite, I do wish, this is just a personal preference in terms of storytelling, I wish that they ended on cliffhangers. So like, I wish that this book ended with Rand being kidnapped, and then the next book started with them getting him back, because I feel like while this live show is making me excited to continue on with the series, I feel like the way that each book end really kills the drive for me to pick up the next one, because they've wrapped everything up. Like, if they ended with Rand being captured, I would be like, oh my god, I like need to pick up the next book immediately. But every time you get to that point, it happened in the last book, like I felt like it should have ended earlier than it did, but they've resolved everything within that book. But it has more plot twists, and I think that's why. And it's like actually shocking me. Whereas to start off with, I just didn't really care about any of them.
What is your favorite so far in the series, Amberly?
I do think book 4 so far has been my favorite, just overall. But I definitely enjoyed the plot twists and the things, the oh shit moments that were happening in this book. Like, it was slow going at the beginning, but even with my major slump, as soon as Alana bonded Rand without his consent, like I was in it.
I feel like that's a terrible thing to do.
It was the family tree for me. It was when they were like, "You related to Elaine." I was like, "Excuse me,"
but that is so late in the book. Like, that's so late, and we already are like what, on page 600.
That was the first moment, wasn't it? That was before he was bonded.
Was it? I thought it was
before he started traveling all over the place.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Ignore me.
And then I think he found that out, and then he traveled to speak to the person that told him more about the family tree.
I missed this whole family tree thing. I don't understand.
I can't even remember who he was. It was a woman who said that he looked like the Queen, and that's all I can remember, because up until that point, I was only barely paying attention because not a lot was happening. And then I think he was bonded, and then what was the one after that? It was before Egwene became the Amelin seat. There was one in between that, and then she became the Amelin seat.
Was it Nynaeve healed Logain?
Yes. So many things.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was a good
book. I do feel like it's really fast. Like, I feel like Rand popping up schools all over the place. Everyone, even though they are being told how to do it, everyone's suddenly being like, right, we can heal people who are stilled. We can make Terangriel and Sangreal. We can travel across the world. And I'm like, this is a lot considering the pace of the rest of the books. Like, maybe one big magical discovery per book.
But at the same time, we waited for a long time. Think about like how long we waited, and it's just 1,000 pages long. So at least like stuff are happening.
I would say it doesn't feel like 1,000 pages, but I've got to a point now where a 700-page book I don't bat an eyelid at. So 1,000 pages is just a long book to me. Like, it doesn't feel like, oh my god, 1,000 pages.
Yeah, I'm used to 1,000 pages. My favorite book is Gone with the Wind.
Jesus. Are you okay? Like, truly, do I need to send help?
But why Gone of the Wind though? It's so.
Oh, I love it. Scarlett O'Hara is like one of my favorite fictional characters ever. She's terrible, but I love her.
Because I read it and I was like,
Yeah,
I
read
wish
it
I
for the
didn't.
first time. I read it for the first time when I was 14. And I've read it quite a few times. I have a super pretty edition.
So that is why you are here. You like yeah. That's why you signed up to this. It makes sense now.
Yeah.
Well, and because everyone kept leaving because they didn't like the books. And I just told Becca at some point I would just join you because you'd be all alone.
It's true. And Sandra was like, you need to find me another host. And I was like, you need to find yourself another host. And then you said you would join. And I was like, well, there we go. Sandra will leave me alone now.
I did like the ending of this, the pacing of the ending of this book more. I felt like after he got kidnapped, we had a decent ramp up to the actual final confrontation. Whereas
something that I really enjoyed is that he got kidnapped and everyone was like, he's probably just around somewhere.
Yeah, because he kept leaving without telling anyone. That's why it's bad to just leave without telling them. People expect you to do that. What were you saying, Amberly?
Deb agrees.
The ramp up.
That was really it. I liked the pacing more because in the last books, you know, something would happen and then there'd be a huge battle, like what felt like almost instantaneously, and then the book was over. Like we had at least like 60 to 70 pages between him getting kidnapped and the book ending.
Whoa. I love how you summarize that.
It's interesting though, actually, because I realized that a lot of people are like, oh my god, the slog's come in, the slog. And I'm scared of the slog because everyone's saying that the slog's coming. But I was thinking, like, my favorite books in series tend to be everybody's least favorite books. Like the Grisha series, book 2 is my favorite. Nobody likes that book. They say it's slow and boring and nothing happens.
It is slow and boring and nothing happens.
I hated that book.
I think I'm gonna thrive in the slog, guys. I think my time is here. And a lot of people in the comments of my last book spoiler video, a lot of them said it depends on the reader where the slog is. Some people say 7 to 10, some say 8 to 10, but the majority of people said that they only actually struggled with book 10. They were okay with the rest.
I feel like the next few books have amazing endings, but the rest is just repeat of what happened in the last book. So we shall see if I feel differently this time around. But I didn't know the slog was a thing until I watched like a review, and then they talked about the slog, and I was like, "What are they talking about?" And then I started like Google, and then I was like, "Oh, that's why nothing is happening. It's a real phenomenon." I thought it was just me.
Yeah, I thought this was supposed to be the first book of the slog from what I had heard, and I wasn't getting it. I was like, yeah, the first 300 pages, I didn't jot down like a single note, and it was kind of slow going, but I loved the rest of the book.
But I feel like the slog is like those first 300 pages. That's the slog. Except like the last 2 chapters.
Book 10 is rough because it's the aftermath of something for everyone, so it literally goes nowhere. So.
Yeah.
Which one's Crossroads? Is Crossroads number 10?
I think so.
I actually kind of want to go straight into the audiobook of book 7 right now because... Yeah, because I still want to do a bunch of jigsaws and I don't have an audiobook. But also I'm going to be away for the first 3 weeks of February, so we can still do the live show at the end. It's just I don't actually have time to read the book unless I read it early. So I was like... might just do it, but I don't have a physical copy, and I like to mark my place in the physical copy. So
many problems for you, Becca. But in theory, we're reading it. In theory, we are reading what's it called again? Crown of Swords for December, January. But we can chill. It doesn't matter. You look so confused.
Trying to figure out what months are.
We are in December, but in theory, we were supposed to have this live show, in the beginning of December because we were supposed to finish it in November.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. Yeah.
So, in theory, we should finish the next one in January, but if we have it late February, it doesn't matter. It just means that people have more time.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. No one is going to die.
Well,
Well, we hope. Fingers crossed.
I mean, people could die. I just meant that no one would die to wait like 2 more weeks for a live show. That's what I meant.
I don't know. Emily's a big fan.
I am. I'm gonna go try to find my matching cover edition on Amazon after we get off here for the next book.
Well, I want to order the box set of books 7, 8, and 9, but Waterstones usually put double points on Boxing Day, so I don't want to spend £30 on a box set and miss double points. But I want to start the book now. So
Start the book
lots
now.
of first world problems that aren't really problems, but I am going to complain about them.
But you can't tab if you don't have your physical copy.
I actually haven't been tabbing.
Oh.
I know. Because I always have the book next to me when I'm reading, but sometimes I just can't be bothered finding where in the chapter I am. Just put a tab in it.
See, I'm so like OCD about like if I'm gonna not understand what's going on, that even if I'm listening to the audiobook while I'm working, I have the real book sitting next to me, and every couple pages I flip and find where I am in case I need to quick look at the book for a minute before I go back to working.
I only do that every chapter. Emily, you are a fucking genius. Do I have the library app on my phone, or did I? Because I don't use my library very often.
I was going to ask if you actually had a library card.
I have become a library nerd.
Look, I do have a library card, and I love the library, but my problem is that I own too many books, so going to the library just opens up a whole new world of problems for me, where I'm reading books I'm not supposed to be, because I'm supposed to read the ones that I own, not the ones that I want from the library.
I do have that problem, but I actually kept track in a spreadsheet this year, and reading books from my library, I saved over $1,000 of the ones that I would have actually gone out and bought to read.
But I like owning the books I read.
But I'm not there yet, because I do need to stop getting so many books, but I also need to read all of the books that I have. So once I've read all of the books that I have and I've stopped buying so many books, then I can use my library.
You think that will happen, Becca?
Not there yet. I'm trying real hard.
I just borrow the things at my library that I don't want to own. So like when I read Norwegian books, I don't necessarily want to own them because Norwegian books, blah. But I need to read them for school, and like I'm sometimes interested. But like I like to own all other books I read because but then I'm like, shit, that's a lot of books.
Do we read New Spring after book 10?
Yeah, it's 10 or 11.
That's the only one I've read before, and I'm really excited to go back to it.
Why have you read that?
So when I was in high school, I picked a random book at the start of a series off a shelf at my library, and I read it. And then it took me, I forgot about it. And then like 5 years ago, I went back and tried to figure out what that book was. And for the life of me, I couldn't until we started reading Wheel of Time for this Wheel of Time along. And I'm like, that was the book that I wanted to go back and figure out what it was so I could read the series.
Wow.
Sorry, it is after book 10. After book 10, we will read New Spring.
I remembered loving it, so I'm excited.
That's a certain somebody's backstory, isn't it?
Moraine. It's Moraine and
Moraine and Lan.
I thought it was just Lan. I didn't know it was Moraine as well.
I love it, but it's like a really like nice reprieve because book 10 is a bit like and then like
Why do you have to read it after book 10? Is it because of spoilers? I'm guessing something happens that triggers you wanting to.
I don't remember enough of the book to know. I just remember bits and pieces, and I remembered loving the tower setting when she was at school.
But I don't know if it's necessarily spoilers, but it fits really well with what some characters are going through because it makes more like it gives a good backstory. But also that was when it was released, so other people hadn't read it by then. So I feel like that we're following what the OG fans were doing, you know.
Yeah, I'm really excited because I hate Morella. What we saw of Morella this book, I absolutely hate her, and I really want Nynaeve to swoop in and just like bust her up and take Lan away.
Take him away.
Like I think oh man, the way that she like manipulated him through the bond to like force him to come and accept her just really bugged me.
Yeah, I don't think that's the only thing she's gonna do to him, sadly.
Why did Moraine bond her to him then?
That was my question, because she seems like a really pretty person.
Because didn't she bond him to someone who was going to look after him if anything happened to her? Like
but we already know. There was a chapter like before she died where like she went and talked to Morella, and Morella was like, "This has never been done before," blah 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 blah, and then she convinced her to do it, but we didn't know what. And now later we see that this was what.
I don't remember that scene, so maybe that's why I was so shocked. But
yeah,
I was waiting for him to show up at Nynaeve like the entire book, and then he shows up at Morella, and I'm so upset. I love him so much.
I love him so much too, but yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
I am quite validated actually, because I'm not the only person who doesn't think that Moraine's dead, because quite a few people in the book actually don't think she's dead either.
I think she's dead, and I'm like, really, I thought I was gonna miss her a lot more than I did in this book.
I think that she could be quite patronizing at times, so that's why maybe I don't necessarily miss her.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have anything more?
I don't think so.
I like Egwene's relationship with the Aiel. I don't know if I said, so I'm just saying it again.
Oh, I do too. I loved when she was with the Aiel and learning from the wise ones way more than after they took her back to Salidar and instantly made her Amyrlin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved it. I loved how they were like, "You would make her an Aiel. I have a husband for you." I was just like, "That's so sweet." But yeah, Perrin is annoying me because he's with Fael. I hate Fael, and like his whole character's now about Fael, and I'm just like, stop it. Yeah.
I hate Min.
I like both of them as characters, but together they are insufferable.
Oh no, I hate Fael just all around. Ever since she was introduced, I can't stand her for some reason. But her and Perrin just make it so much worse. And then Min, this book, becoming a completely different person. I don't like her right now either.
No, Min was also annoying. It seems to be a relationship thing with all of them, though. Like, there's a relationship and they all just, like, lose the plot.
Yeah. I hate people who do that. That's going to be Becca the day she's married. She's just going to be a completely different person.
Yeah, like, I haven't been with Curtis for, like, 8 years.
No, but when you're married, it's different. So then you're just going to be a completely different person.
Okay.
We should be done with the read along by then, right?
Oh, it's been a year, guys.
Oh my god, it has.
It has. It makes sense because every second month is 6 books. 1 year. And 1 year from now, we are still not done.
I might still be married. So at least there's that.
Oh my god. So yeah.
Like, I don't want to end, but I want to keep reading.
The year has gone by fast. We have lost people. We have gained people. It's a good time.
It's true, actually.
Yeah, I can't believe you're doing this and the first Wot-Along, though.
I can't believe I'm still managing both of them. I haven't fallen behind.
Oh, yeah. What book do I need to read since I skipped the heroes?
Red Country.
Red Country. When's the next month? Sometime?
January, and it's only it's less than 500 pages in the UK edition. It's a small one.
Okay, that's
good. I read it today. I finished it today.
I just finished this book today, Sandra.
No, I finished this book yesterday, and then I finished Red Country today. When is this due to be finished? It takes 2.5 years to read them all. So when, because it's 15 books, so we are done June 2025. Guys, I just realized that's when I'm supposed to be done with my master's degree. So that happens at the same time.
Wow.
Exciting.
I would just finish two of the biggest events of my life. Then I can literally just go and... No, I'm joking. Didn't mean it. Sandra is so encouraging. I know.
To find my library card number. I've opened up my old phone and I'm logged into my account and I can't find... Wait, my barcode. Got it. There we go.
I was going to ask if you use Libby over there too.
No, right. I hate the place that I live because Only like big cities and stuff are on the Libby network. So like if I was in a city grid, I'd be able to use it, but I'm not. But also it's the same with my doctors. Like, you know how you can get prescriptions fulfilled by different pharmacies just by having a prescription? Well, my pharmacy won't do that because they have their own pharmacy. And it's the same with the library network. They have their own shared portal, so they won't sign up to Libby or anything. It's really annoying.
That is annoying.
You should just move then.
There are good things about where I live, like the house prices are really cheap, so
that's why I'm gonna become your neighbor. I'm just gonna buy a house right beside you.
I mean, next door do keep saying that they are thinking of moving.
This because of me. I told them to move out so I can be...
You can just buy a second house and turn that entire one into your library.
Oh, I was thinking, like, could I knock through? But I don't think I could. I think it'd be weird. Because I feel like buying the house next door and making my house twice as big would be cheaper than moving. Because my house was pretty cheap. Theirs would be a bit more expensive, but not as expensive as buying like a whole new house, you know? So another, like a bigger house. So, but no, I don't think it would work.
Probably going to read Red Country in Jan and then next Wheel of Time mid-Feb. Yeah, something like that.
I'm excited for this supposed Western by Joe Abercrombie.
I am not.
Okay, so this is the real question. Are you liking Wheel of Time more than First Law?
Oh, well, the only First Law book that I've liked so far was Best Served Cold. So, yes.
What about you, Becca?
I like the First Law trilogy more than Wheel of Time, but where we are in Wheel of Time now, I like more than where I am in First Law right now.
You like the first trilogy? Okay, fine.
I don't know. I know a lot of you guys. I was literally watching Olivia's vlog earlier today when she said that if you're a resident in Texas, you can connect to any Texas library with a digital card. I don't think we have that here.
Yeah, that's definitely not a thing where I live.
No.
You can only join the library that is like services your zip code.
I think you have to sign up to the library here, you have to go in and like show your ID and like proof of address and stuff as well.
Yeah, we do too.
So. Yeah, we do that too, but our cards are national, so we can use our card in all of the country.
Oh, that's cool.
But our like app for reading, like that you sign in with your card, is terrible. Like it doesn't have any English books, it only has Norwegian books, and I don't read those. So yeah, I read some, but like not majority. So I use it for Norwegian books, which I read more of lately, but still. Either way, do we have more?
Should we buy county? That would only connect me to Hull, and I think I'd need to be connected to Leeds or York. Oh, it might be York, actually. Wait, no, it is by county. So I can borrow books from all of the libraries in my network, which is my county, but none of them are connected to Libby. But no, I don't think I have any more thoughts on the book aside from that. I'm really trying really hard to get the next book.
That's actually quite cute. You could do like I did and just ask a friend in the US if you can borrow the library card and log into Libby with theirs. Yes, it works.
Does it work?
I mean, Amberly, you have a library card because I have a Becca.
I had no wait for the 5th book of Wheel of Time because I think I surpassed everyone on the wait list for the last books because I was reading them quicker.
Wow.
What's the next one called?
I actually don't know.
Crown of Midnight? No.
No, that's Sarah J. Maas.
Yeah. It should be.
So you could just borrow a library card and a PIN code, and apparently that works. But now it's set up publicly, so now they might just.
Crown of Swords.
Yeah, there's no wait list. You can use mine if it'll work.
I should be able to use mine. I just can't log in.
See, my app has my library number in it.
So does mine, but I can't. There's like a libraries app which I use to borrow books. So like I search the catalog and I can hold them at my library and go pick them up. But then there's also the app that allows me to access the digital one, and I can't find the actual library app on iPhone.
Would it be linked on your library website?
You know what I'm going to do? What's it called? Crown of Swords. I'm just going to do it on this phone. Seems easier.
Oh, that was really loud.
It's in Hassel.
Contagious.
There's one in Beverly.
Now I'm gonna check this if it has Crown of Swords.
I'm just gonna go ahead and borrow the audiobook right now.
It says I can't place the hold.
Ooh, I can. But I have them all on Audible.
Yeah, I need to
borrow a box that it won't let me log into.
I need to go back and buy 2 and 3 because I had gotten those ones from my library, but then by the time we hit book 4, I knew that I would want to own all of them, so I've just been buying them every time we have to read one.
I bought them all, but I knew I was going to audiobook all of them just because I want the whole series on myself, even though I'm probably never going to read them physically. Is that weird? I don't know.
No.
It shouldn't be. I used it last year, I think.
Last year is in 2023.
Good question.
I keep yawning.
It's hard to remember because I don't borrow a lot of books, but I go in the library and just look around sometimes.
I mean, like, I work in a library, so it's kind of unavoidable that I go there.
Oh,
also just want
potentially. Okay, well, we'll see. It doesn't. I mean, Boxing Day is a week away, so I'm sure I can wait if we're being.
Oh no, that's so soon.
Yeah, no.
Like, I keep realizing how close Christmas is over and over and over again, and I'm still not ready.
I know.
And then I completely forgot because I only buy gifts for like my daughter and my nieces and nephews. Completely forgot that I had a nephew this year.
A new one?
Yeah, so I
thought you meant that you forgot they existed overall, but yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did forget that he is now someone that I have to buy a Christmas present for, and not just my 2 nieces. But
I mean, if he's just been born, he won't hold it against you.
Then you could just buy like shit. He won't know. He's like a baby.
He's almost a year.
That is a little shit. What did you say?
He's almost a year. Like, I still have to go get something. It's the problem.
Okay.
I have like a week.
Okay, are we done with this book?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll end this live show then.
Waiting for you.
We'll look. I was having a mare. We will see you in February at some point, providing that I actually read the book. And as you can see, I'm trying real hard, but it is a struggle. But yeah, we will be on Sandra's channel next time as well, I think.
No, we will be on Amberley's.
Okay.
But she makes one. Just for these live shows.
Oh, I have one. There's nothing on it. I can use it just for these live shows.
Wow. Okay, guys, we'll see you all in February. Bye.
Bye.